Whether you live in a large urban center or you live in a small town or in some rural communities, you know that we have a housing crisis in Canada. Ken Greenberg is an urban designer and a writer and a teacher. And he joins me right now because I want to put the question to you that should we be rebuilding our centers? So often in Canada, it's 2 stories. And you go along Main Street, it's 2 stories. And other people say, well, we shall make a 50-story condo. But in other older cities, you have 5 stories and 6 stories. Can we rebuild Canada?
We are rebuilding Canada all the time. The city is perpetually unfinished. You walk on any street, anywhere, you see people doing anything from renovations. We now have laneway houses. We have small buildings. We have large buildings. It's how we build it.
Or how fast? Clearly, with the price of housing going up, Ken, we aren't doing it more quickly enough.
And doing it in more places. The problem is we're trying to build densely in a tiny part of the footprint of Toronto, something like 5% of the land area, which means 80 stories is the new 20 stories. And this doesn't work, but we have a vast canvas of land. 75% of the inhabited land area of Toronto is in what's called the Yellow Belt, where you are not allowed by zoning to do any more than single-family housing. We have to break open the Yellow Belt.
And why can't we do that more quickly? Is it because of NIMBYs, not in my backyard? Is people saying, well, I don't want a 4-story building beside me?
That's part of it. It's also exclusionary zoning, which prohibits it. And
well, why aren't our politicians smarter? Sorry, that's a tough question.
Well, that part I won't touch, but not courageous enough. Actually, I will give the Ford government credit for their Ontario Task Force on Affordable Housing. The key recommendation they came up with was to get rid of exclusionary zoning in that Yellow Belt I just mentioned. Unfortunately, when Bill 109 was enacted recently, that was the one recommendation from the task force that they didn't pick up on.
So your advice to politicians and also to people watching who are saying, we got to do something where houses are just not priced out of everybody's reach.
We have to do a whole bunch of things. That's the point. There is no one thing. It's a supply problem, as I mentioned. It's a where problem, and it's also market housing and non-market housing. And we have to do all of that together.
So on some busy streets where there's 2-story housing or offices going along, that should be changed.
Absolutely. And on all the transit lines, we definitely should have denser housing. It can vary depending on where you are. It doesn't have to all be the same, right. But it also has to have not just the housing, but all the amenities that make life livable.
Make it attractive.
If you're going to add people, you need schools, you need daycare, you need community centers, you need to be able to walk to buy your groceries, and all those things touch on the sustainability.
I love your optimism. Ken Greenberg, thank you very much. 3 minutes. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your financial support. In this world of PMO-paid mainstream news, we need independent news analysis so you can make your own decisions. Don't let the cockwombles go without exposure. Subscribe, PayPal, and thanks very much.